everybody. It's a strange time of day for me to be sending out a message. It's actually 1:41 in the United States of America, in the Midwest, East Coast, I guess you could say, time zone. This is Bev. This is the Bev D Show. It is June 5th already. We're pushing halfway into our year. I want to put out a daily message, and to be honest, today's is really, really rough for me to be able to do this, but I've made a commitment that I'm going to do this, and sometimes, selfishly, it is to help me, because I don't think I've been a very good person lately. Or I always believe in this. I'm a temple for God. And in order to do His great works, that possibly He put me here to do, sometimes I get sidetracked. And I really suck at being a human being. And recently, I think I have been that. Of course, I do my normal daily things. I get up. Just to let you know, I currently am temporarily unemployed. So I'm at home, and I get up. I do my routine. I take care of business. I mean, it's not like I'm just not doing anything. It's just I'm not doing the hard works of what God has put me here to do. And I fall prey to some of the human things that happen. And I make mistakes. And sometimes those very mistakes that I make are not only affecting so many others, but they're breaking my heart. So to kind of work through that and what's going on, and possibly, as I always say, if I have one listener and maybe they'll, it's me talking to you, and maybe you and I can work on being a little bit better. I titled today's message, to say you're fine and okay, with the possibility of being fine and okay. Because the obvious right now is that we are not okay. Not if you're a human being and you're walking on earth, things aren't okay. If you're aware of what's going on in the United States and the crisis that we've been through and that we are currently in, we are not okay. And we are certainly not fine. But if we don't start saying that we're fine and okay with the possibility of being fine and okay, we really will be in a mess. So today, if you could picture in your mind that broken heart emoji, that's right now what I have inside. Like, there is a physical, audible, obviously, because I've been crying my eyes out, but there is a physical pain. Short of thinking I might be having a heart attack, it really is a broken heart. I am not alone. This is throughout the United States and the world, and we all know why. We know that we witnessed a murder, George Floyd, but beyond that, in all of the movements and the protests and the violence and the platforms that we've given one another, beyond that statement and tragedy, hatred is brewing. And it's an opportunity for us to do the one of the easiest things there is, and that's to hate. Anger is easy. Very few people will say, it's hard for me to be angry. I've not met that person, but please send me a message if you are that person. I'm so heavy. This is so hard, but it's so important for me to get this out. I've had some recent events happen. I'm a huge social media person. I kind of play with all the social mediums, but the first and foremost one that I communicate with my buddies and family is Facebook. And Facebook has become, we share about our families, our illnesses, pictures of our dogs, flowers, decorating. But to be honest, we're right now we're sharing a lot and slinging a lot of information, violent images of violence in the street. But I watched something yesterday, and it was protesters on behalf of George Floyd that were singing "Lean on Me" in a group, and it brought me to such a place of that unity, that live concert, that live out loud. I can't watch a play. I don't care if it's funny. I don't care if it's sad. I don't care what's going on. If it's a live performance, I'm crying. And it's because there's something about human beings and their expressions. And when I saw this, we have been cooped up in our homes for 2 or 3 months because of a virus, this COVID virus that had us all on lockdown. And now we're running all over the streets and protesting on behalf of this horrible thing in our country called racism. And it's terrible. Racism isn't a new virus. It isn't a new cancer. It's been there. And what it's doing is because based on beliefs or where we've been, or if you're young and you're fresh and you think you have all of these ideas, and you might, those are surely getting clouded by a lot of violence that's going on out there in the world. So we have to struggle. We have to look for the fine. We have to look for the okay, so that we can make sure that the right message is being conveyed. I mentioned in the show the other day, when I was a little girl and we were going through protests, and I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and that was, certainly we all know the Vietnam War, and it petrified me. I remember being a little girl listening to the radio with my dad and hearing some of, these scary reports about what was happening to our soldiers and innocent and terrible human beings overseas. Having said that, our media outlets we had a few television stations. My mom and dad got the newspaper on the daily, and then some radio stations. But these were all things that were talking to us, reporting to us. And now, with our phones, our smartphones, and social media, we get to be the reporters. Everybody's a reporter now. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody knows everything. And it's desperate, and it's killing us because of this, a present company included. Sharing videos and each of our pages kind of reflect, our Facebook pages, if you will, reflect our personalities and who we are. But right now, my personality and who I am and what's true to my heart has been staggered. And it's been staggered because I am showing some of these things that I disagree with. I am sharing videos, and a lot of the time it's it's upsetting, and it's upsetting people that are near and dear to me. And that's not what I'm trying to do, or what any of us, I suppose, are trying to do. But there is I mentioned it, this social media is killing us. But at the same time it's killing us, it's also breathing life into these possibilities of being fine and okay. But to get to fine and okay, we have to think that there is the possibility of that. Much of my upset and much of my the things that I've been going through that are steering me in the wrong direction have been fear. When we had the virus and that was coming down, I got scared. I got scared because all the businesses were closed, and what was going to happen to our country, and what was going to happen to all of these human beings that cannot, I'm a homebody. I was kind of okay with it. The weather wasn't that great, you know. But on the other hand, I couldn't live and breathe and do the things that I want. I was unemployed. I'm like, oh, hey, maybe we'll take a drive to the beach. Can't do that. Oh, maybe we'll, whatever. We couldn't go to dinner. None of us could get out. None of us could do the things that Americans do. And that caused fear in me. And I kind of clammed up. I didn't do a show. I honestly, it was a while before I did, because I wasn't me. I live with my boyfriend, and he's been through it with me, and we have fun. And I even asked him today, I go, do you laugh at work? Do you guys have fun? Because our laughter that he and I have, or the joy, that's been altered by all of us, in these events, because you feel guilty. You feel guilty if you're laughing and enjoying yourself and people are dying like crazy in the nursing homes, or that this virus got a young person, or I always put things into perspective. When I get too caught up, I think about a children's hospital and what it's there for and who it's housing, and intensive care units, and I instantly, if I can put things into perspective, that gives me a little oomph, like a little jolt of strength. But I haven't been able to do that. I've been so scared. And the thing that when we lead with fear, it can grab a hold of you. Call it the adversary or your mind getting inside of your own head, but it can halt you. It can paralyze you. And I think that's what happened to a lot of us. People are scared. And now that we all have a phone and we all have access to the media, we can start looking at some of these really scary things that are going on that are not a movie. They are not in a book. This is real life, and this is what's happening, and it's hurtful. And we're human beings, and pain and anger were emotions that we were blessed with. But we have to be able to counter those. We have to be able to, if we have fear, we have to do something that's places action. Today I was really upset. Something really sad happened that personally it might not matter to you, but it broke my heart. And I was crying so hard I could not get a hold of myself. And so the first thing I started doing was just meandering around the house, fixing this, cleaning this up, folding this, doing that, just trying to get my mind. And it was this action that I said, you need help. So I went and I found this book that I always go back to, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And that's kind of where this, say you're okay with the possibility of being okay, even though you're not okay, but it gives you hope for the future. That's one of the messages that's in there. This is by David J. Schwartz. He's a PhD. It's a pretty good book. It's a great resource. It's one of those books that are there, and it's kind of right alongside the Bible when you need help. And I was desperate, and I had my heart broken. And one of the messages that just came to me was letting go. Letting go and you can do this over and over again, by the way. If you let go and then you fall backward